call the meeting to order.
Okay.
All right, let's go with Michael first. So the first order of business will be the end-of-year transfers, which obviously needs some explanation.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just so folks know, and then I'll turn it over to the real professionals down, my town accountant and treasurer collector. So, it's the end of the year under, this is probably 3 or 4 years now, probably more than 4 years. Under the Modernization Act, we're able at the end of the fiscal year to transfer to zero any deficits that exist in the budget, and that's what we're doing. So, Ian and Lisa went through the budget, zeroed out whatever was a deficit. So now you say, well, how do you have a deficit? Well, sometimes the payroll runs over, but you have payroll short, you got extra money left in your supply side, so you can switch the money back and forth. So these are the different things that need to be moved, and that's why we're here, so that we close that out, end the year in black, which we are. I'm happy to report that we are, once we make the move. So with that, I'll turn it over to Ian to give a much more thorough presentation.
There should have been any dollars on here, right?
No.
Okay.
No, so we don't have to, so what Michael referred to was Chapter 44, Section 33B of the Mass General Law. And it just says that we can transfer within the budget. It just has to be voted by the 15th day of July following that fiscal year, which is why we were kind of in a rush to get it done. I gave all of you a revised copy of the transfer list. I inadvertently left some things off when the select board voted it last night. It was in the detail in the back. I included the budget calculations with it. And as you know, it's the end of the fiscal year. It's a rapidly moving process. We haven't even processed our final warrant yet, so I'm still trying to figure out the numbers. But Mass General Law says you only have to vote the lines, not the amounts, which doesn't pigeonhole me into an amount, just where we're taking it and putting it.
So that's the biggest change that we had to do the dollars so it match.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Ian, what might be helpful for everyone if you could just sort of go through and say, transfer it from this to that.
Yep. So we're transferring from Selectmen Other Services to cover a shortfall in the select board and town manager's salary line, and also a shortage in human resources salary line. We're transferring from facilities maintenance expense to their salary line. They're a little bit short in their salary.
Can I ask on the first one though, on those three departments, full-time, part-time, wouldn't that stuff all be known at the beginning of the year?
No, because there are different things when we go through. So out of the selectmen budget, I have to pay for a lot of different things. We may need to bring in professional services. If the money's not professional services, I'll pay it out of the selectmen's line item. HR, we had a great turnover. As you know, I have 2 new employees sitting right here, plus probably another 7 or 8 positions. So that ran out HR's budget with ads in the newspaper. So those are the kind of things that, because we have very lean budgets. I mean, none of our budgets, we have, hundreds of thousands of dollars extra. No.
Okay.
So let me jump ahead one little bit. At the very end, are you going to give us a number at all, or not?
I can give you a general number now, but like I said, the last warrant of the fiscal year hasn't been processed yet. I think it's
that's all right.
Almost done, but you never know when somebody's going to bring in another invoice.
But Ian will give you an idea.
I'm just trying to figure out how to write this thing up.
We had $50,000 remaining in reserve fund transfers, so we're transferring out money for facilities employees, and this is and health consultant services. So he had a $19,000 line cut from his budget last year, and so we have to cover that deficit. General insurance and property went over a little bit. That was because we had the two new buildings going up, the senior center addition. There was some additional insurance costs associated with that. And automotive fuel, as you all know, automotive fuel has gone through the roof. There really wasn't any way to plan for that. It was already at a deficit when we went to town meeting and input money, but again, you have to have fuel for your vehicles. So The assessor's expense budget was short $25.95. We're taking that out of her salary line. The treasurer collector's professional services, we're supplementing the harbor master's salary and wages. His part-time employees often overexpend his budget just because we don't know what he's going to need as summer comes on. And the utilities lines, and I put various here because there are multiple utility lines, but the total deficit in that is going to be just under $61,000. And again,
For all four of
rising
those?
costs of heating and electricity.
Is that just the utility line or all?
Utilities, yeah, phone, gas, power, that's all of that.
So the 61K is just utilities,
Yeah.
nothing to do with the harbor master?
Yep. I'm taking money from human resources, meetings and training, and putting it also into her full-time employees. So what I'm doing is, with that one, because some of it's coming from the selectmen's budget, I'm taking all of her remaining expenses and then supplementing that with money from the selectmen budget, the expense budget. So just to kind of see that correlation. Planning board, I'm taking money out of their, a number of expense lines to cover a deficit in their salary lines. Police building maintenance, I'm taking money out of theirs to supplement their salary line, they're a little bit short. Let's see, building, we're taking money out of their expense budget to supplement planning board, also planning board, their salary expense. And zoning board of appeals, that entire budget was overspent. She had a lot of advertising she had to do this year, and it significantly increased her costs.
In the newspapers, just so, the newspaper rates are out of sight, but we have to by law advertise for ZBA, for planning board, and there were a number of others, but those are two biggies that come to mind.
And which newspapers, is it like just the
Local,
Mariner?
Marshfield.
Just local,
Just the
yes.
Mariner?
So it's just the
So they have you, yeah, so they have you by it, you know.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
I'm dropping it. There's nothing in it.
There's nothing, I get Cohasset News in mine.
Yeah.
They actually stopped printing from Marshfield, I
Yeah, it says
believe.
coastal.
Yeah.
That's my youngest graduated from high school. So, okay, sorry. continue.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So we're transferring from animal control expenses into their full-time employees. We had, unfortunately, our lead animal control officer did resign and move on to another position, and we had to pay out his unpaid vacation and things like that. So that line was a little bit overexpended. DPW admin, taking $23.65 out of their admin salary line to supplement that same shortfall in their expense line. That just came about with this warrant. The DPW maintenance, they were significantly overspended. Some of that was because we had to contract out to have maintenance done at the beginning of the year because they couldn't do the repairs in their facility. So most of that money is coming from their salary line, and then an additional portion of that, I believe, nope, it's all coming from their salary line, I'm sorry. Cemetery, oh, it's coming from cemetery trees and greens, see? They had a significant amount left in their expense budget, so I took the remainder of the deficit in DPW maintenance and took it out of cemetery trees and greens. Veterans, their trustees of the Vets Memorial Park was overexpended. We need to keep that park maintained for the public, and we do pay a gentleman to maintain it. And so that was overexpended, so I'm just pulling it out of veterans' expense budget, yes.
Going back a little bit, there's a compliment that when Barney Dow was there, he got a salary of X. He worked double or triple the hours. It was a labor of love, and I can understand why to maintain the way it was, this shortfall is
Yep.
occurring.
Library's expense budget was over expended, so we're going to take that out of their salary line. I'm supplementing, so 60, just a small portion of what was left in this trustee of vets memorials. I don't like to take it from anybody else's budget until I take it out of their own budget. So there was a small amount left in there, just their like professional services line, so that's going into their salaries, and then the rest is coming out of the veterans' expenses. There was a snafu with the outside debt and the inside debt, and that's all my fault. When I was paying debt bills, I paid things out of the wrong accounts. It's all in the debt, but we have to make sure those two accounts are whole. So I'm just transferring from inside or outside to inside to make it so that neither one of those is negative. The retirement county pension fund was underfunded, so we're taking that out of employee benefits, the expense line. The total I have right now, which may still change, is just under $636,000.
That's how much total the transfer.
That we're just
Yes.
transferring from.
Yeah.
So is it common on something like this annually, so almost half these lines are all salary related deficits?
Well, we do have contractual allowances, so sometimes those aren't, if they come in too late during the budgeting process, they don't always get translated into the budget. We have had some turnover, so.
When you say coming too late, you mean the budget?
So,
Somebody
salary?
leaves and hired.
if somebody leaves and comes in, they may get hired at a different rate than what was budgeted for.
Oh, okay.
we
And
get
there's
paid
also,
vacation.
union contractual allowances, so if they're supposed to get an increase, if that decision was made after the budget was already set, we have to cover for that as well.
And they have to pay out if they leave.
Yeah, now, I got the situation here in the town with the fellow left, he had to pay his back vacation and stuff. How much of that can you accumulate in this town?
What is it,
What do
4
you-
or 5 weeks? Do you?
Is there a union?
It's unions you only can carry over, so depending on the position, you carry over 2 weeks.
Yeah, but if somebody.
But people, a lot of the people, so people that leave, that may have been here longer, we had firefighters, 2 firefighters leave, their combined money was $58,000. So it depends how long you've been here. If you've been in 30 or 40 years, the rules were different 30 or 40 years ago. Under the new collective bargaining agreement, people that are hired, when I say relatively in the last few years, maybe half a dozen years, those contracts, there are caps on how much money you can stockpile. Same thing with sick time. You can't, there's limits on how much sick time, there's limits on how much vacation time to keep some of those costs down. But the 636, I just ran the numbers, it is less than 1%. It's 0.006. So it's not a cost, it's just a shifting of money from one side to the other. So.
I have a question about the process. So obviously on the column on the right, there are shortfalls, like the budget
Yes.
didn't cover the actual expenses.
Correct.
Did it just so happen that there was enough in the columns on the left of sort of excess funds, or did we have to make cuts on the left? In
No.
other words,
So-
not
It's a
fund
little
positions?
strategic.
Yeah.
I'm trying to kind of keep some funds in the same general grouping
Right.
and things like that, but generally, with Mass General Law, we can take, as long as we're not over withdrawing from a positive line, and it's still buckets, it's salary buckets and
Right.
expense buckets, so.
So let me just clarify. So just so we know, the budget's in the black.
Yes.
There were certain line items that are in the red, so we're cleaning those up. We'll finish the year with excess capacity, so that excess capacity falls to free cash, and then there's also turnovers. So there are departments that are actually giving money back that don't fully fund. Now, you're gonna say, well, okay, how can that be? Well, that's because during the course of the year, they get grants. There are training grants for the fire department, training grants for the police department, there's 911 grants. So when those come in, portion of salaries and stuff can be charged off against that. So that's how we create turnbacks, or that's how we don't fully expend those funds. Then all that money, when we go through this process, will then fall to free cash, and that's what we have available when we do the
Yep, right.
special
So
town
in
meeting.
that scenario, if, would it be that you budgeted some, a labor cost to go to training and so forth, but then the grant came in, so now we can
That is correct,
That's budgeted.
100%, that's correct. You can charge off to that, that's correct.
You want to spend your grants.
Spend the
Yeah.
grants, right, because they have
Otherwise you're
a...
gonna return it, yeah.
So I want to say a couple things. One, this is the only time of the year that you can mix salaries with expenses. You have to understand that. You can't move it during the year unless it goes to town meeting. Number two, this seems to be now like the school department, where they keep track of everything. You'll hear them talk about deficits, but they got somewhere else they know there's money, and that's how they balance it at the end of the year. It seems like we're doing the same thing.
Correct.
Okay. I have a suggestion or a request from you, Mike.
Yes, sir.
When I first got on the board many moons ago, we used to get a booklet from the state. It talks about what the finance and advisory board's function was. They then went to a disc. I don't know how much longer I'll be on the board, but none of these people here have ever seen these documents.
Is it a 5 1/4 inch floppy or?
I don't know what it is now. I don't know what it is now, but we pay for the organization. It comes out, we have dues that we pay every year from the town. There should be something we can get, because as these laws have changed, the members should have.
Yeah, we'll send, yeah, there's a guideline for like, advisory board is sort of lumped in with finance committee and stuff like
Right.
that. I'll say, just have to, when you read it, extrapolate your advisory
Right.
board, so we'll get everyone a copy of that.
That'd be great.
It's not a problem.
There's also a great gathering every year for, they call it the Finance Committee, it's the Massachusetts Municipal Finance Committee Association. I know when I worked in Falmouth,
Yeah.
that group usually sent people. It sounds like it's a really good, so if you've got some newer members who would like to go to that, I would recommend it.
It is a good course.
Yeah. Because a lot of these questions are answered, you know.
All right. Any questions? I'm going to move all together. I'm going to move that we accept the end of the year transfers. Or second.
Second.
All right. Any questions, concerns?
Just, can we just get a total next time we meet? By then the books will be.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, probably
Yeah.
September, October.
Yeah, I don't expect it to move very much. I did review the warrant before I came up here, so I don't expect it to move very much from here, but yeah, we can. get you-
Whatever the amount is.
Yep.
Just so we can have it in print, so people understand we're not just voting blind, we understand the process.
Yep.
So my question on this is generally in my business career, somewhere in the fiscal year, somewhere around October, they'll say, look, we're getting tight, so everybody start scaling back, no more pencils and pen type of thing. But you can't transfer this up until,
No, only the end of the
End of the
year.
year.
Because you don't know, because first of all, you don't know how much you're gonna expend or what's gonna happen. You know, in the office, we have a lot of, people go in and out. We had new treasurer collector, a new town accountant, we had, new person down in the Board of Health, an assistant director down in Board of Health. We had to hire a new nurse. Those are just off the top of my head.
no, but
I won't even-
my point is, March, in that vicinity, do you have a feel what's
Well,
happening?
you may, but, we don't have to worry because we know that we always have plenty of money. We never run out of money in the budget. The problem is, once the money is in a line item, this is the only time you can move it, is at the end under the law, state law. We have to abide by state law.
So you're
which is
watching the bottom line monthly?
The bottom
Yeah.
line.
We're watching everything.
Yeah.
The town administrators for years used to come April or May, would start freezing line items and would send out memos. And, for example, we know fuel was going to be in deficit. Can't talk about everything else here. So depending how much money they have available that they know, they gotta do something else. So maybe they say, don't make these purchases until July when the new fiscal stuff. They can do that stuff.
Right, so we don't have to do that, but I will tell you, in the fall with free cash, we'll be adding a substantial amount of money to, gas and,
Right.
because what's driving it, not necessarily the price of gas or the price of electricity, it's the fuel cost. You're getting racked now. As of July 1, the Eversource has, just like they do in the winter in New England, that's gonna be a year-round thing, so that's a huge charge.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be hit with that, so we're gonna have to make an adjustment for that
What charge is that?
fuel charge.
Fuel,
They're gonna do it twice a year.
Surcharge.
fuel surcharge.
I don't know if it was in my bill or I saw it somewhere. It was published last month.
Like, going to what you're saying, theoretically then, if we close the books out and we're in a deficit, then you would take that from the next,
We can't close the books at a deficit. We'd have
where
to
would the
balance
money,
the
would
book.
you
A
borrow
cherry
it?
sheet.
Well, you have to go back, there's
Could
Could
always
you
a,
theoretically cut into the following year's budget and reduce?
well,
positions?
there's a mechanism for doing it. We've never had to do that. Not, I shouldn't say that. Last time I think they had to do was in 1990, was the last time they had to do it, when Bill
So you wouldn't
Sullivan
take it
was
out of
the
free
acting
cash?
Yeah.
town administrator.
Free cash isn't certified
Right.
at that point.
At that point.
But it could happen.
You could go to your levy, because we don't go to 100%, although most people that pay taxes will tell you, oh, you guys are squeezing every single dime. Actually, we don't.
Right.
So, you know, if there was some shortfall, you could always take it out of there.
But if you take it from the future, you're being penalized too.
That is correct.
Yes, sir.
So it's costing you.
And then when you lose staff, you lose services.
Yeah.
Well, you lose dollars.
Just,
Yeah.
we're being taped, so I want to make sure that folks that are watching don't tune in. The budget's in the black, we're finishing the black, we're moving money with internal in the budget, just so there's no misinformation.
Yeah, we're just talking hypothetically.
Right.
What could happen.
Yeah,
All right. Okay, seeing no further questions, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? All right, go. All right, and now we have something that's not on the agenda, but because it's a public health issue.
Public health emergency.
Emergency, our legal counsel has said that we can vote on this, so if you want to explain this, Mike?
So, as you know, they're doing emergency sewer repairs right now on Plymouth Avenue. When they were looking, they came across another area. They have to replace 500 linear feet of 8-inch sewer pipe in Second Road from Ocean Street to Plymouth Ave. The current pipe has collapsed and requires immediate replacement. So if we don't do it right now, and that could leach into, you know, we don't want to have any problems. So that's why it's declared an emergency. They just found out about it within the last few days. So they have some money that they want to move. And the meeting was here, so Bob said because it's an emergency and it's a public health issue, that the board can vote it.
Okay. So I'm going to move 100,000 to be transferred from the reserve fund to be transferred to the wastewater collection system maintenance.
That's the emergency. That's the emergency reserve fund, DPW.
Correct.
Okay, it just says reserve fund. I'm just
No,
reading.
no, I'm saying it, no, that's why I'm saying it.
No, thank you, that was good. I was just gonna say, it's the emergency
They
reserve.
have, they have line items for $100,000 for this reason.
Okay, who wrote that up and made Keith yell at me? Jeez, come on.
That would be the DPW.
No.
Blame it to you.
Dan Bowen.
It's gonna get a talking to. All right. Okay,
We'll fix them, Tom.
thank you, appreciate that. Any questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? All right, thanks, I'll sign off on that.
Thank you, everyone.
You have no choice.
Today is the 12th.
All right. 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Community sheet.
Should be 3 there.
Is it rated?
Oh,
I printed out 4. just
oh,
because-
okay, I think we just need 3. 1 for my office, 1 for the selectmen's office,
Okay,
1 for the...
all right, let me just continue on with this stuff that we had, I'll do that. Anybody see the minutes? There's
Yeah.
quite a few, because I'm always like,
I'll move them all.
move the ball, thank you. Yeah, hold on a second. Hold on, before we do that, emergency reserve fund, I moved it, and who seconded that?
I did.
All right, Carlos, thank you very much. Okay, so now we have Keith moving, Carlos second.
All the
On
minutes.
the minutes. Any questions, concern? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. Okay, and then some minutes up, all right. We have the transfer, we're actually just down to elections, correct?
Yep, you have to do that every year.
Every year, okay.
You don't have
so-
to change anybody, but you have
So-
to
Just
do it.
reorganize it.
I printed this out from the town site to see what everybody's terms expires, and we still have Paul Sullivan and Joanne Caulfield on here. Price, I'm not even listed on here. Oh, no, she's right there. Anyway, so my term expires in 2024, and that will be it for me. So just to let you guys know,
Okay.
that I'll be leaving that. But I'm more than willing to stay on this chair for the next 2 years. I know Carlos had just told me that he just got something in the mail for 2024. 25, as did Sherry, I believe, right?
That was the last time, I think.
Yeah. And then Mark, Susan, and Paul, and Donnie are 23, and Keith and I are 24. So just let you know. So I'm not exactly sure if do this once a year, and I always forget how do the elections go, my friend.
So someone nominates the chair first,
Yeah.
Okay.
followed by a second. Let's do this. So we open the floor for nominations for chair.
So why don't we have somebody come from the board, ask for nominations, because you shouldn't be running it,
Okay.
just in case you get nominated.
Keith, why don't you run? This?
No, I'm on the board.
I'm not a member.
Someone
Do
from
you want me to
someone
do
on
it?
the
Yeah,
board.
Mike can do it,
So,
Is that what we did it
okay.
before?
secretary.
Because I actually am under the charter, ex officio member of
Yes.
the all boards.
Doesn't that
and
make sense?
commissions. Yes.
Yeah, sure.
So I will open up nominations on the floor. I'd like to do, I'll make a motion that we open nominations for chair of the advisory board.
I'll nominate.
Well, so
sorry.
we have a second on that motion.
Second, yeah.
Second, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, so the floor is open for nominations. Mr.
I'll nominate
Delansky.
Tom.
Second.
Okay, we have Tom Scollins nominated. Are there any other nominations for chair? Any other nominations for chair? Any other nominations for, seeing none, I will entertain a motion to close nominations for chair of the advisory board. I need a second.
Second.
Second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nay, now the main motion, we,
Oh, wait, I just want to say one thing. There's a lot of people that are going to be leaving in the next 2 years.
Yeah,
So on your second year,
Yes.
you should have somebody new,
sure.
so you can train them.
Fine.
it's a
So I
great
could train,
point.
because I could be I could be
But
done
that's a
too,
great point, absolutely.
you know, like we did before.
Hey, someone could be chair right now.
Okay, so we have the motion made in second, so we need to move the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Now I'll entertain a motion for, do you guys have vice chair, right?
Vice chair.
Entertain a motion for vice chair of the advisory board.
Second.
Okay, so a second, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. The floor is now open for nominations for vice chair of the advisory board.
Paul, still interested?
Sure.
Hi, Paul. I nominate Paul.
Okay, Mark nominates Paul.
I second.
Second, so motion been made duly second. Any other nominations for vice chair? Any other nominations for vice chair? Any other nominations? Seeing none, we'll close nominations for vice chair and we'll move the main motion. All those in favor of Paul DiCristoforo as the vice chair signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimously.
They have a secretary,
Secretary, so at this time.
which I don't know
clerk.
why.
We should do a clerk.
I don't know why, because they used to take minutes and stuff, and we had treasurer's report, we don't do that anymore.
Okay, well, you can still have, maybe you can get someone to do that.
Is this like Maria?
No,
No.
she was recording secretary.
She's
This
the
is-
recording
this was
secretary.
on the board.
Oh, was-
And then you were the
Yeah.
reigning
Right.
clerk.
I think you were the reigning clerk.
Yeah.
So what do I have to do?
Right now, there's nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing?
Just-
Okay.
did you see how I did it?
You like that job?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have nominations, so I will make a motion, we have nominations for clerk.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. The floor is now open for nominations for clerk of the advisory board.
Nominate Sharon Costello.
Okay, we have.
Second.
Okay, second. Any other nominations for clerk? Any other nominations for clerk? Any other nominations? Seeing none, we'll close the nominations for clerk and move the nomination. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Yeah, motion carries unanimously, and Sherry is the clerk.
Congratulations, everybody.
All right.
You gotta get the big
And,
money.
that's all I have, right? We're good to go.
Nice,
Okay.
thank you, everyone.
Wait, before you close. I want to move that the chair can sign off anything as emergency agent during the summer, and then we vote it in the fall. So this way we don't hold anybody up.
Sure.
We've done that every year.
Yep, no, that's excellent.
Second.
All right.
You can write up anything you want.
Yeah. Keith, Mark, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain? Okay.
This way, if you get a 2-minute thing, you don't have to bring
That's
everything.
great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, great, awesome. I adjourn the meeting. Meeting adjourned.
Is there a motion?
Thank you. Yeah. I have a motion to adjourn the meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right.
Do we have an idea as to when any of the upcoming, I mean, I know it's only July, but I'm just wondering if anything in September or October, do we know?
It's usually town meeting.
Yes, so, yeah, so I can, if you want me to jump in, so
Yeah.
the warrant will open on the 8th of August, close on the 18th. Town meeting is the 17th of October, and the joint hearing is the 20th, I believe, of September.
September
Yeah.
20th?
That's
And I'm
right.
sorry, say.
I'll send out the date, but
Okay.
I'm 100% sure the warrant opens on August 8th, closes on 18th of August, and the special town meeting is October 17th.
Okay.
That's good.
Great, thanks.
The joint's right
That's
around the
early,
20th
isn't
of
it?
September. No,
It's not? It's October 17th?
No.
No, I mean.
It's gonna be a Tuesday night, right?
Before you know it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right. That seems
It's
to
so
work.
depressing. Summer's
April
just
is when
starting
it's a
now. I think.
little later.
We're talking about been here 8 months.
The deadline, the deadline.
Yeah.
Nothing
So
worth worrying about during
October's
soccer.
on.
Okay,
April's
I
always the
have,
first day back from school vacation.
April's on.
I mean, the other boards that meet.
I have moved, I have Keith for a second. All those in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstained.
I used to be
Okay,
able to
great,
see
thanks,
that.
everybody,
Yeah,
appreciate it.
thank you, everyone.
And hold on now.
Okay, thank you.